All right, I am excited to kick off our afternoon, and our topic today is how to create and use your content calendar. And Instagram's a big part of that, but we're also gonna weave in some other things, because if you've ever heard me talk about content, I get a little geeky when it comes to content, and I'm excited to share with you some tips and tools and strategies that you can implement immediately into your business. Sound good? Social media is rented ground, and so that's gonna be kind of the theme of what I'm gonna talk to you about the next 20 minutes or so. As much as I love Instagram and social media, we don't own it, right? So it's really important when we think about our content that we think about content that we own, no matter what platform, no matter what situation that goes with us wherever we go. So the first thing I want to talk about is time blocking. I can tell you right now, if social media and content creation is not on your calendar, it's not going to happen. And so I recommend time blocking daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. On a daily basis, set aside 10 or 15 minutes a day to like, comment, engage. I'm a big believer in Focus 5. Take 5 minutes, connect with at least 5 people a day. Don't be a drive-by liker. Don't just jump in, like a bunch of things and leave. Don't be creepy. Don't be that person. But leave meaningful comments. Real estate's a relationship business, right? And so super important we take time to engage. On a weekly basis, set aside 10, 15, 20 minutes once a week to schedule some of your content for the week ahead. Not set it and forget it. We don't want to automate everything, but thinking ahead. And then monthly, set aside a couple hours once a month to batch create content. Now, I know some of you have heard me talk about this before. I started batching content probably 5 or 6 years ago because I said to myself, if I'm gonna sit down and do my hair and makeup and record one video, I'm gonna record like 4 or 5. And so I can tell you from experience, that doesn't happen unless you plan it, unless you put it on your schedule. And then yearly, if you haven't had a chance yet, set aside time on your schedule to look back at your marketing from the past 12 months. What worked? What didn't work? We have so many great free tools out there like Facebook Insights, Instagram Analytics, YouTube Analytics to see what worked and what didn't work. Well, the reason why we're talking about all this today, by the way, is that the leads you get from great content are so much better, right? When you put out regular content that's in your voice, that has your opinion, that has your personality, what tends to happen is people will start to say things like, I see you everywhere. I feel like I know you. I feel like you're in my head. And those kind of people, when they're ready to work with you, they're ready to work with you. So when we think about content, and this is something we're going to talk all about today, is the best type of content is content you create, especially video content, right? We know this. If you've been to any Inman conference in the last 20 years, there have been a lot of people talking about video, right? Most people retain 95% of the message in a video compared to only 10% of what they read in text. Evergreen content, timeless content, who pays for what, moving tips, relocating tips, right? That type of content, now we're talking about building a content library. So guess what? When people are Googling and looking for a realtor in their local area, she's more likely to pop up, not just on Facebook, of course, but YouTube and other platforms. So that pillar content, again, it gives people a sense of what it feels like to work with you. What do you sound like? What do you stand for? What are you all about? And that's the power of video. So a big part of this is sometimes a little scary. It's this idea of leaning into who you are and who you're not. So one thing to think about when we think about our content plan, because we've talked about time blocking, finding your voice, creating pillar content, but my time with you today, I want to give you some tips in terms of like laying it out, because you could sit down and batch create videos all day long, but if they don't get posted, if you don't have a plan, then it's kind of a moot point, right? So I'm going to show you 2 slides here. The first is a kind of a simple distribution plan. What you're looking at here across the top is a simple schedule, Monday through Friday. On the left-hand side, we have Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Now, you may be on all 3 platforms, you may or may not. It's all good. So maybe you decide in 2022, you're going to sit down once a month, and you're going to record 4 or 5 videos every month that you're going to then parse out once a week, right, going forward. So what does that actually look like? Well, you could take that video and upload it to Facebook, upload it to Instagram, upload it to YouTube. A couple days later, you can share it to your story on Instagram or Facebook. You can share it to your email database. Taking that video and turning it into like a graphic post, a carousel post for Instagram. Now you've got one video and you've turned it into 8 or 9 things. And then what we do is we layer in everything else. So you've got a listing coming up, you have an open house coming up, other content you want to share. You want to do a Monday market update, you want to do Monday motivation, Wednesday wisdom, featured Friday, new listings, Throwback Thursday. So we start with that pillar content, right? That goes with you wherever you go. And we distribute that, and guess what? The good news is, if you get into the rhythm of creating evergreen content, timeless content, you can follow this plan this week, and you can repeat it again in 3 months, and you can share that same video again in 6 months, 12 months, et cetera, et cetera. Part of content, when you think of your content plan, has got to be repurposing. And so I just would encourage you, for those of you already creating content, are you repurposing it? Or is it like one and done? Now, repurposing is not spray and pray. It's not just, I got a video, it's gonna go everywhere, right? It's just thinking strategically about, okay, I've got a video, I'm gonna put it on Facebook today, and YouTube tomorrow, and Instagram in 3 days, and then I could share it to my story. And you know, that's a really good piece of content, so maybe I'll make that into a reel in 3 weeks, and we repurpose it in a lot of different ways. So you might be wondering, okay, well, you're talking about video, we're talking about content, what are some ideas? So I've got kind of 5 big buckets of ideas that I encourage you to think about. So the first being community. I think one of the things I have loved so much seeing from this community in the last year and a half is how much all of you love your communities, right? Your favorite coffee shops and pizza places and hair salons, they need our love and support. So if you're new to real estate, or you're looking for a great piece of content, or you're not sure what to post, shine the light on somebody else. Process. What's the process for buying? What's the process for selling? What's the process for relocating? What's the process if you want to buy a vacation home? What's the process for finding a realtor? What's the process for finding a lender? Myths, right? There's a lot of myths in real estate, right? What are some of the biggest myths around buying, selling, around the market, around moving? There's so many different myths when it comes to real estate. Stories. Stories are really powerful. If you're already creating video content, but you feel like not a lot of people are engaging with you, the next time you share something, instead of sharing the facts, share a story. And then of course, mistakes, right? Mistakes that every first-time home buyer makes, mistakes that everyone who moves makes, mistakes that every new realtor makes, et cetera, et cetera. Evaluate what's worked. So often we spend time working in our business, we don't always have time to work on our business. Take some time to look at your analytics. What's worked, what hasn't worked. Look at your marketing to make those decisions. Here's the thing, if you're sharing anything to Instagram or social media, this is a good one to share. It's not about getting thousands of followers. It's about getting the right followers, the right connections. Done is better than perfect. So if you're listening to this going, that all sounds great, but I'm gonna do it next week because I'm really busy this week, I'm in Inman. Pick 1 or 2 things that I talked about today, pick 1 or 2 things that you hear in this session and implement them immediately. Sound good? All right, thank you, my friends.